Now, 1 year after the fateful El-Adde attack, some families in Kirinyaga County are yet to know the fate of their loved ones who are soldiers in the Kenya Defence Forces. One such family says their kin, Samson Munene Kingai, might still be alive after they learned on social media that al-shabaab kept some of the captives of war. As KTN's senior reporter Carol Nderi found out, most of the affected families are clinging on to hope, even as they turn to post-traumatic stress disorder counseling.
This is the home where Samson Munene Kingai would maybe have come to by now, Kematugi in Gishugu, Kirinyaga County. However, 1 year later, since he was reported missing, his wife Judy Wawera sits pensively with only her missing husband's photographs to keep the memories alive. That and so much more that they shared as husband and wife. The warm memories give her hope that maybe, just maybe, her dear husband might still be alive somewhere in Somalia. Munene was among the soldiers that were attacked in El-Adde on January 15, 2016. The last communication he had with Wawera was on 14th January, a day before the 15th January attack.
Sasa alikuwa ananiuliza tunafanya nini? Nikamwambia napika. Alafu huyu mtoto wetu wa kwanza alikuwa analia. Kaniuliza Fikia analilia nini? Nikamwambia anasema anataka mkate. Sasa akaniambia niwe na wanunulia mkate kila siku. Niwe naweka na flour juu anafanya hiyo kazi zito juu ya watoto wake.
She fondly holds on to 2 text messages that he had sent her from Somalia days before the attack. Wawera shares the contents of the message with us. One reads, Mimi niko poa pande hii, ni salamu tu. Salimia vijana yangu uambie dada kopoa. Na wapenda wote, have a blessed night. For 5 days, her husband's phone rang continuously when she tried reaching him, but on the 6th day, it went off. She had hoped that he would call her back upon finding her missed calls, but that was never to be.
Saa kutoka wakati huo sijaongea na yeye. Na naendanga Giligili wananiita naendanga na wauliza. Sini vizuri kuwa najua fiti ya husband yangu. Lakini hakuna kitu ananiambia, watoto wanatuambia tu tungoje.
Several days later, a phone call came through telling the family that a DNA sample was needed because Munene's remains had been found. With that news, the family was by then convinced that indeed Munene was no more. They started burial preparations and set a burial date. However, days before the set burial date, a phone call changed everything. The remains were not Munene's.
Wakapiga simu wakasimamisha, wakasema ilikuwa mistake.
Since then, there has been no tangible news over her husband's fate.
Imekuwa gumu. Juu tumeteseka kweli. Si hata watoto wananiuliza mama, kwani dada atakuja lini? Hata nashindwa nimwambie aje, nyamaza tu.
She is, however, hopeful that there is a chance that Samson Munene Kingai might still be alive. She recently heard that there are soldiers who are in al-shabaab's custody as captives of war.
Bado mimi najua mbona yangu kwa hai. Si nilisikia kwa Facebook, silikuwa kwa simu. Kuna watu walikuwa naongea wanasema kuna wanajeshi walishikwa na al-shabaab.
As she continues caring for their children, this last one having been just 2 weeks old when her husband was sent to Somalia, she says her eldest son, who is 8 years old, keeps asking her about his father's whereabouts. Is he alive? Is he dead? The agony is too much to bear, she says. Heroes Oasis Counseling Center has stepped in to assist families such as Munene's. Founded by family members of military officers, counselors from Heroes Oasis, in partnership with counselors from International Professional Counselors Center, visit these families. Immaculate Kukubo has a brother serving in Somalia and is also engaged to a military officer.
In 1 minute they are thinking, well, maybe there is hope that my son or my husband or my brother is alive. But in another second they are thinking, is there really a possibility that almost 1 year down the line that person could be alive, and especially being in the hands of al-shabaab.
What does America do? It's been sending its soldiers to war for several years. What do they do to their soldiers? And I realized we have a long way to go, especially supporting the military families.
Still from this locality, 30-year-old Nancy Njeri is distraught. Unlike Wawera, who does not know where her husband is, Njeri lost her husband, Winston Irungu Njogu, in El-Adde. She vividly remembers their last conversation before he left for Somalia.
Alikuwa na pancha ya mkono, lakini alipigiwa ni lazima aende aripoti Somalia. He tried to yani alijaribu kuongea na mdosi asiende, but aliambiwa kwanza report then apewe ruhusa. When tukiachana, alikubali, lakini aliniambia kwenye anaenda ni kumbaya. Mimi nikamwambia ajipe moyo, Mungu atamsaidia toboy. Then the last minutes yenye tuliachana, yeye aliniaga akalia, which I had never seen it before.
She remembers trying desperately to call her husband's cell phone when news reached her that there had been an attack in El-Adde.
Kwanza alinificha kwanza tia ameenda escort. So sikuwa nakuru kabisa kama alikuwa huko. Then kujaribu kidogo nikajaribu tena nikasikia patikani for about 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks nikaona labda he was on the bush. Wakati nilicall the wanajeshi wengine, I had some numbers ya wanajeshi wengine, wakaniambia kuwa the network iliharibiwa juu ya attack. So I kept on calling, trying, but the last day when I called so that I confirmed that he is not there, I was told by one of the members from there, Somali juu aliongea Kisomali, kaniambia he is one of the victims wale waligongwa.
And what followed days later?
Nilipigwa kutoka El-Adde Barak, nikaambiwa DNA inatakikana Nairobi. Sasa hapo ndipo niliona labda hayuko.
The hardest hit by the death of Winston Irungu Njogu were her children, especially her eldest son, aged 12.
The last thing which disturbed me kabisa ni after mashishi. Mtoto alikuwa anaamka asubuhi anakunywa chai anaenda hapo kwa kaburi. Naanza kulilia hapo.
The councillors from Heroes Oasis and international professional councillors say it is a tough world for military personnel and their families.
You realize that most of these soldiers, Carol, come from very humble backgrounds, you know, where a soldier is the only working person in an entire family. So when this soldier then dies, that suddenly, where have these families found transport to travel to wherever they need to travel?
Actually, not all soldiers develop PTSD, in short, post-traumatic stress disorder. There are few who develop, there are few who don't. And what happens for those that develop PTSD, it tells you automatically, it goes to the family. And when it goes to the family, we call it secondary traumatization, that I am traumatized because my husband or my son, in case of those who are not married, is also having PTSD. When it comes to the children, it's equally the same.
And that much more can be done.
You know, the military normally has something they call pre-deployment training, where people who have been selected to go to Somalia are actually trained and prepared, the soldiers. We also want to do the same for the families. Who prepares the families for the trauma ahead of them?
We have a long way to go, especially supporting the military families. And for sure, studies have revealed there is no other family that will go through what the families of soldiers go through.
As Kenyans, we should always be praying for our wanajeshi wakati wanaenda nje. And then let's say that tunashukuru serikali tu inatuendelea kutusupport, and we hope they will support till the end.
1 year after El-Adde, it is apparent that more support systems need to be put in place. Carol Nderi, KTN News, Kirinyaga County.